So I think the Alliance experience for me personally has been really a good experience. I think just as the ability to get together with a peer group and be able to discuss real time issues, real time, kind of get real time feedback, and then take little nuggets that you kind of get along the way, and then bring them back into your workday the next day or that day even, and actually apply them to real situations has been a big value. When you go into a meeting, you don't really, you don't necessarily know what's going to transpire in the meeting. I think that the problems that we all are challenged by as executives or as managers are really common, and everybody is really experiencing the same types of issues, although we're all in different businesses. And so really it's the ability, I think there's a richness that comes from the fact that everybody is in a different business, and so we all have the same challenges, but we're all looking at them through a slightly different lens. And so there's a benefit that comes out of that when you have a group that's able to discuss that issue, hearing different perspectives of how those issues apply to different businesses. It all translates, and it comes back to your own business, where you can directly apply what you can take away from the meeting. I think I was mostly hoping to gain sort of a benchmark to kind of base my experience where I was in my career, and kind of benchmark that against other peers, and try to understand, was I sort of seeing things through the same lens of other people that had similar career experiences, not necessarily career paths, but similar time in their industries, and similar responsibilities, similar challenges, and really just as a way to kind of benchmark where I was, make sure that I was on track with my thinking and my perspectives. I feel like I've been, actually pretty much on target with where I thought I was. There's certainly, I've identified places where I know that I can improve, and you also get that from the experience of meeting, with a peer group on a regular basis, kind of seeing and observing how other people even handle themselves, in that forum is a learning experience where you can take something away from that and learn how to improve. But overall, I feel like I'm benchmarking pretty well. Quite honestly, that there was no question about funding the membership. We as a company culture, we value training, we value personal development, and there really was never even a question about whether we would fund it or not. So I think there's benefits to having a group that's cross-functional, and the benefits are, again, looking at the problems through a different lens. And so a CFO might look at a certain issue differently than a CEO who looks at an issue. And so getting that collective experience, I think, gives you unique insight into what the problems are and how to solve them. Mm-hmm. I think the Alliance culture is high confidence level, high confidentiality. It's a very welcoming environment. I think it's clear, it's high integrity. And so all those things I think are essential, because you're really discussing real-time issues with other people. There's never a question of whether any type of sensitive information would ever be shared outside of the Alliance group. So the culture, I think, is very strong and develops trust, and that's, I think, essential. I think that my first impression after the first meeting was a little bit of a mental exhaustion, because I hadn't really ever set that kind of time aside, which was 4.5 hours to really do a deep dive into issues, to listen very hard to other people's issues, so really active listening, and then trying to explain what my own issues were in an articulate way and have a meaningful conversation about it. 4.5, 5 hours of that was much different than what my normal day would typically look like. So I was a little bit, tired after the first meeting. In the group that I participate in, the Alliance Director will lead the meeting, at least keep everybody on track, make sure that the group is having a meaningful conversation, that the the dialogue stays on course, that we stay on track with time and schedule, brings kind of thought-provoking ideas to sort of set up the conversation, and then I think does a good job at trying to either bring his own perspective to it, which is unique sometimes, having his own experience, or trying to sort of summarize for other people collectively what we're trying to convey or communicate to one of the members. I think in terms of new Alliance members joining a group, what I would personally value is somebody coming in that was going to be really honest and open with what the issues that they have are, be able to have a willingness to share that with the group, to be an extraordinarily good listener, to try to put themselves in the other person's shoes and the perspective, be able to share their experience with the group, again, in a very honest and forthright way. So, in terms of specific group members that sometimes stand out as being big contributors to the meeting, I think those individuals, again, are very good listeners. They bring an amount of experience to the discussion. They ask very good questions, which is important to really, part of good listening is asking good questions. And they're articulate, and they're able to summarize and put into perspective what the issue at hand is. They're able to give clear communication about what they would do in that situation if they were that person. Generally speaking, just good listeners and good communicators. Personally, I think what I bring to my Alliance group is a number of years of experience that I'm very willing to share my perspective on. I think I am a very good listener. I try to really understand what people are trying to communicate and what the essence of their challenge is, and I try to think very hard about, if I were in that position, what would I do, so that the advice that I'm providing can hopefully be valuable to that person, that it's something that they can actually take back and use that day or the next day in the challenge that they're currently dealing with.